Whoa, hey, NeoGAF, GameFAQs, what's up? How you guys all doing today? Anyways, my name is Day, and today I'm going to be doing my Gears of War 2 video review for you guys. But before I begin, I'd just like to wish everybody a happy Halloween, and secondly, a big huge thank you to everybody who took the time to watch my Fable 2 video review. I'm really glad that more people enjoyed it than not enjoyed it, but at the same time, even for the people that did enjoy it, at least they said that they found it very informative, and they respectfully disagreed, which is pretty cool. All this stuff is just my opinion, so if there's something that you can get out of it, then that's pretty cool in my book. So anyways, enough of that stuff. Without further ado, Gears of War 2.
Just like all my reviews, I'll try and keep this as spoiler free as possible for you guys. We begin this review with the story mode, which many considered was the weakest part of Gears of War. Maybe it's just me and I'll completely understand if you guys hate me for this, but my simplified understanding of the story was that we're on planet Earth, these things called locusts start coming out of the ground, and so now we gotta kill them. I was visiting the Gears of War 2 forums on GameFAQs, and I stumbled on a topic titled Things You May Not Have Known About Gears of War, or something to that effect. But anyways, one of the tidbits that caught me off guard was that Gears of War does not take place on planet Earth. It takes place in a fictional planet known as Sierra. Mankind, predisposed to the temptations of power and destruction, had been at war amongst each other for years, until we were all united because of an event known as E-Day, when the locusts arrived, or emerged I should say. What I'm trying to say is that I'm one of those people that love Gears, but really paid little to no attention to the plot. Not because I thought it was terrible, but because it just really wasn't there. Cliffy B and Epic have made a big deal about how there was going to be a greater effort in sharpening the storyline in Gears of War 2. For the most part, I can report to you guys that they've succeeded. In Gears of War 1, we dropped the bomb of the locusts, but discovered that it has done next to nothing. Our numbers continue to dwindle as the locusts become more aggressive. Entire cities are being sunk, and our final hope is Sierra's last bastion for humanity, the city of Jacinto. So the plan is instead to dig underground and take the fight back to the locusts. And that, my fellow GPs, is where it begins. In Gears of War 2, the characters are fleshed out a little more, the pacing is done adequately, and there are the war journals to collect, which adds to the overall plot. It's moved along by terrific voice acting and grand cutscenes. However, in my humble opinion, it's still the weakest aspect of the franchise. Ultimately, the story is the pawn which plays its part to a T that merely attempts to rationalize and provide a setup for the epic battles and amazing gameplay elements. It's there for the hardcore fans to dissect and appreciate, but at the end of the day, this game isn't an RPG. Everything is still fairly linear with your occasional choose the right or left path option, but the way the levels are designed, I think Epic has done an awesome job of creating this illusion that it's not, but that instead you're in this large-scale legendary battle for humanity's survival. When all is said and done, I think most people will be satisfied. There is no cheap cliffhanger cop-out, despite there being many more questions than answers in the end. Put it this way, I commend Epic for creating a great lead-in to the third game without making me feel doomed. So we come to the gameplay. This is the reason why Gears of War has been one of the shining stars this generation. The active reload, roadie cam, and stellar cover system returns. This time, however, you now have the portable covers via shield, and can take down opponents hostage and use them as a temporary guard against hostile gunfire. Chainsaws are also no longer random. Instead, if two players come at each other with chainsaws, a 2 to 3 second duel will ensue. Whoever can press B the quickest in that short time span will be awarded the victory. With proximity mines, flamethrowers, and a slew of other new weapons and simple but deep gameplay mechanics, I'm sure there are more than enough elements here to make it feel fresh for Gears of War veterans and make new players feel welcome. Graphically speaking, don't let the game's slow start disappoint you. It ramps up quickly and doesn't let go from there on out. In Gears of War 1, a lot of the battles felt like small close-quarter guerrilla skirmishes. In Gears of War 2, the settings will constantly change not only between each chapter, but within the chapters. It makes you keep going and going in anticipation of what's next. This time around, the game has a little bit more vibrant color, but hate it or love it, Gears' signature grayness still comes through. One of the descriptions I remember Cliffy B saying in regards to Gears was destroyed beauty, and this is exactly what Gears is. It isn't supposed to be colorful. This world is meant to be dark, dirty, gritty, and full of destruction. Lots of oh so beautiful destruction. The environments go from open to underground to snow to rain to horror to... It's awesome to the 10th power. To be perfectly honest, on the surface, the leap isn't as big as Gears of War 1 was compared to other next-gen games at that time. I think those are kind of ridiculous expectations to have, but don't think for 1 second that this game won't have moments that will make your jaw drop. This game has delivered plenty of those in bucket loads. The texture and art design are fantastic. The architecture of the buildings, the new animations, the blood, etc. It's all just stellar and top-notch. Marcus and Dom and the rest of the Gears feel and look exactly how they should. Heavy, huge brute like soldiers ready to take on anything that gets in the path of completing their mission. As has been revealed by Cliffy B already, yes, there will be a segment where you ride the Reaver and control the Brumac. You heard me right, control the FN Brumac and literally mow down hordes of drones and boomers. Probably the biggest highlight of the game for me. The Reaver segment is pretty, but the Brumac segment is full of win and pure badass. Many of the battles, just like some of the monsters, are massive, epic, and frantic. Reavers are coming in left and right, drones keep busting out, buildings are falling apart, bullets are whizzing by back and forth. Early in the game, you'll get on a big drilling centaur in the forest with trees being mowed down and beautiful mountains in the backdrop. Then mortar from Reavers will start coming at you, and you'll see Brumacs trying to get in your way. You'll hijack a rail ship and take down another rail ship. You'll be in a moat getting attacked by a bunch of other moats, and the list goes on and on. For a few seconds you might think, man, this is going to slow down any time now. There's just too much happening on screen. But not once did I encounter any slowdown in the solo campaign. You forget everything, and the environments just sucks you right back in. The late loading textures still appear here and there between cutscenes and some checkpoints, but it's a minute problem and is almost negligible. It's the only negative aspect of the graphics I could honestly think of. The sound. What would all this be without the sound? I've already mentioned the stellar voice acting. The sound of guns, bullets, chainsaws, neck breaks, meaty gore, everything sounds delicious. It gives you that peculiar satisfaction. The soundtrack does its job. It comes right on cue and drives the non-stop action pacing of the game. It sets the mood and the tone. You can really tell that Epic spent a lot of time putting the entire package together, taking no shortcuts. So my final score for this game is, oh yeah, the multiplayer. I haven't even mentioned that yet. I usually don't like reviewing multiplayer features of games like this, since a lot of bugs, exploits, patches, and evolution of the community in general usually can't be properly analyzed until months after the game has been released. However, this is the meat of Gears of War, and is where many gearheads will toil hours of their lives upon, so I couldn't end this review without going into it. There are now 9 multiplayer modes in total. The campaign I played through and finished entirely in co-op with my little brother on the hardcore setting, although I spent 4 hours or so in normal mode offline, just to see the differences. There are 4 difficulty settings instead of just 3. Casual, normal, hardcore, and insane. Insane only opens up after you've beaten the game. I'm not really sure how Epic makes it work, but one player can be in a different difficulty setting than the person they're playing with. In casual and normal, when you're offline, Dom can now revive you instead of you automatically dying. 98% of you guys watching this right now are probably from GameFAQs and NeoGAF, so I know you guys would fall in the core gamer category. I would highly recommend playing in hardcore, as casual and normal are just too ridiculously easy. In fact, I'm actually disappointed that Epic didn't open up insane from the get-go, as that could have easily bumped up the amount of hours to 15 plus. It took my brother and I exactly 10 hours to finish on hardcore. I'm sure if I had done it all by myself offline, it would have taken me 12 to 14 hours. So the game is definitely longer than the first Gears, which easily hits single digits in hours, even while playing offline only. I know there's no 4-player campaign co-op. It's only Dom and Marcus again in the campaign. While you're playing the game, plot-wise, you're going to realize why. It does make sense in the overall scheme of things. Epic makes up for it with Horde, where you and 4 other players take on wave after wave of enemies. It's almost like an arena of sorts. I could be wrong, but there are 15 levels, each level with 50 waves. If you die, you'll only respawn if your team makes it to the next wave. Today, while playing on Insane, it took my brothers and I, which would be a party of 3, about an hour to get through to wave 7. This was easily the mode that had all of us hooked, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of people also. Bots also makes its debut. There's really not much I can say about the AI in this game. They're a great addition and do their job, but it's no comparison to another live human being. What can I say? I've been spoiled by Xbox Live. We played System Link using 3 Xbox 360s, so I don't know if the bots can be used in XBL. I'm sure it will, but probably not on ranked matches. Warzone returns, which is basically your standard deathmatch. Most of the multiplayer can now accommodate 10 players instead of just 8. All it means is the action just gets bigger, faster, and better. The new gameplay mechanics like taking someone hostage and portable covers are really what's going to differentiate this from the previous game and mix things up. Annex and King of the Hill are also present. New to the franchise are Guardian, Wingman, and Submission. Guardian is kind of like Assassination. Teams get infinite respawns as long as the team leader is alive. Submission is sort of like Capture the Flag, except the flag is a hostile person you have to take hostage. Wingman is the one that's probably completely new. There can be a total of 5 teams consisting of 2 players each. Your partner will be a clone of you. There's 1 life per round, and the winner is which team has the most kills. We tried all these multiplayers briefly, but it was Horde that we ended up going back to the most. To sum it all up, Gears of War 2 is a remarkable blockbuster sequel that no 360 fan, or video game fan for that matter, should go without. It lives up to the hype and is most definitely going to be a contender for Game of the Year in my book. If you love Gears of War, you're going to fall madly in love with Gears of War 2. If you didn't like Gears of War, then this game has enough fresh content to warrant a second shot, or at least a rental to make a final verdict. Overall, I give this game a 9.7 out of 10. My gaming pals, feel free to disagree. Until next time.